Undaunted Normandy now has a digital edition available in early access on Steam. Let's take a look at the tutorial and learn how to play this game here today on Legendary Tactics. Alright, so we're going to walk through the tutorial here for Undaunted Normandy. And this tutorial is kind of standard, I guess you could say, for this type of game. It feels a little more open though in how it works. It's kind of interesting. You just kind of play the game and it just pops in to explain things as needed. We'll look at the field of battle. We have these tiles here. You can see these square tiles, and at the bottom center of each tile you'll see there's a shield, and that's the defensive value of that tile. So these hedgerows are defense value 2. This open field is defense 0. Also at the top right corner of some tiles you can see there are these stars. That is the victory point value of those tiles. So whoever controls that gets the victory point value. And here you can see the German side controls this three victory point space, and so it's turned blue. It'll turn green if the American side controls it. Okay, then you'll see also at the bottom left of some tiles you'll see the spawn point indicator. So it says all for here and all for the American here, and that's where new troops can appear. And at the top left of some tiles you'll see the scout indicator. That means that a scout has moved into that tile. And it's one of the mechanics of this game is that the scout has to move through a tile before other units can move through. It's kind of an important thing. So, and then on the German spawn tile here, you can also see this control indicator. It shows that the German side controls that tile. So we use a deck of cards to control our troops, and digitally here you can see this represented. You can see the decks up here. There's a draw deck and a supply deck. And the supply and the fog of war, the FOW cards, don't turn up in your hand right away or your available cards right away, but they're added to the deck over time. And so when you are playing, you will add cards to your deck and sometimes remove them as well. So it's kind of an interesting way to represent command control, I think. So we draw 4 cards initially from the deck, and the US player has the initiative. So the initiative phase, we play 1 card from our hand to determine who goes first in the action phase. So if you look, there's at the top left, there's a value here. These are all values that it's almost representative of the value of the card actually, but it's the initiative value. So each player chooses a card from their hand, and the one that ends up playing the highest number goes first. If it's a tie, then the person who owned the initiative previously keeps that initiative. So we can choose one to play. I'm just going to play Fog of War in this case. It's only initiative 1, but we'll see what happens. And my enemy played a rifleman, and so gets to go first. So there's going to be a couple of movements here and a shot. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening, but don't worry, we'll go through it a little bit slowly on my turn. So so now I have the cards left in my hand, and at the bottom you can actually see the different actions that can be taken. Okay, so scouts and riflemen are units actually on the board. They're blocked right now by the I can't really zoom in. You can kind of see in the corner there. Maybe I can move it over here, so you can see the riflemen and the scouts. They're actually units on the board. The squad leader card is not a card, or the platoon sergeant. Those are officers that are not specifically represented by a piece. And there are 2 squads that are in play. There's A and B. So you can see that there's some pieces here have the green color and some have the red color. So the red ones, the ones with the red interior are going to be squad B. The one ones with the green interior is going to be squad A. So we can't move the rifleman from squad B with rifleman A. And to select on a card, you just click on a card in order to play it. And when we choose, say, a scout, okay, we get access to 4 actions, which are summarized on the bottom of the card. So the scout action allows you to scout up to 2 adjacent tiles, which allows other units to move into them. And they get that little binoculars marker here at the top. Every time you scout a new tile, you get to gain a Fog of War card into your hand. Now, Fog of War cards are useless. They are dead cards in your hand. So this is something that is added to your hand that way. Attack 1, that allows you to attack an enemy unit. Recon is if you have a Fog of War card in your hand, then it lets you destroy that and draw a new card to replace it. It does take an action though. Conceal allows you to put a Fog of War card into the enemy deck, so that's kind of interesting. And Hunker Down, this returns the scout card to your supply deck, which means it essentially takes it kind of out of play. I'm still new to this game, and I'm not sure when and why you would do that. But anyway, we'll figure that out. So anyway, we need to scout a couple of spaces here so that we can move. So I'm going to actually scout. We're going to scout this one here. And you can kind of move around freely. It's kind of interesting, even though there's enemy units or whatever, you can move around. And we'll just scout here as well. And so you can see those binocular icons have been added to the corners there. Okay. Now we can play the other cards here. So let's play a rifleman. And a rifleman can move, attack, or control. Now, control is so you can pass through a hex space without controlling it. It actually takes an action to control it to get the victory points for it. So that's something that's important. But you know what? I think we're going to take a shot. That one scout there is getting a bit cheeky. Now they're in a defensive tile 1. Okay, so every unit has a 2-hit number. Okay, and if you hover your mouse, it's kind of nice because you get a good breakdown of what you require. So this is the minimum number you would need to get a hit. So it's normally 5 or more, but there's a cover bonus, which is +1 because of that shield at the bottom of the tile. And also because it's not in the same space, you add the number of tiles to the to hit and representing distance, and that means that it's a 7 or more to hit. So it's not great odds, but we will see. Now, if we roll the dice, then if it's a hit, then the dice will turn green, and they lose a card from their deck for that unit. And you'll be shown which deck the card is removed from. If there's no available cards in their deck, then the unit will be removed from the board, and it can only return if an equivalent card is bolstered from supply, and it'll reappear at the spawn tile. So it's kind of an interesting mechanic that way, where say we forced a discard, but there's still cards of Scout B in the deck, and so for that reason, the unit still stays. It's hurt perhaps, but it still stays in the game. So, okay, now we have squad leaders, and squad leaders are not on the board, as I said earlier. They can bolster, which means you get to add more cards from your supply to your deck. You can inspire, which allows you to essentially bring a card back and play it again, so replay the same card. So I'm going to do bolster though. Now bolster, here's the cards that you can add. So this is from squad B because the squad leader is from squad B. So we'll add a scout and a rifleman here. And those cards now appear in the discard, ready to be reshuffled next time. And so that's basically the first action phase. We draw back 4 cards, and then we pick a card for initiative again. Now, I have all kind of good cards here. So I'm going to pick the... do we want... Yeah, you know what? I'll pick the rifleman more for illustrative purposes, so I can show how things can be set up here. So now we have the action phase. So I'm going to scout, and I'm going to scout in a couple spaces here just to get those guys. So we've got a pretty broad area of operations now which we can use. I'm going to use the platoon sergeant. Now this is the highest initiative card anyway. It allows you to bolster 3 cards from your supply to the deck and from any squad. You can command, which allows you to draw 2 more cards from your deck into your hand, or hunker down, which returns it back to your supply deck. And again, if you do this, you won't be able to get it back. I'm not sure why they give that as an option, but whatever. So anyway, I think for this one, we'll just illustrate commands. So I'm going to draw 2 more cards up, and they are both Fog of War cards, which are useless. They cannot be used for anything. You can discard them right away. It doesn't matter. So, okay, so we're going to take the squad leader for A, and we're going to inspire. We're going to replay that scout from earlier in the phase. Only this time, I'm looking to maybe do an attack. Let's see here. So we're going to play this card, and we're going to attack. And we're kind of looking for a vulnerable target. This guy's in target 2. We can hover the mouse, which is handy. It's 2 hit 7. This one is 2 hit 7 as well. So, that's interesting. Because unit defense is 4. You can see that shield there. So even though this rifleman is technically more vulnerable because he's in better cover, it ends up being the same 2 hits. So I'm gonna hit this scout again. See if we can, and we get a hit. Now that scout lost all the cards for that scout in his deck, so that means that the card has to be, or sorry, that card was removed, and so that left that unit vulnerable to being eliminated, so which is good. Now there's a couple of buttons at the top of the screen to help you. So the top left, you'll see this is the scenario name, which you can click on to review the instructions. So in order to win, we each need 5 objective points, and you only control an objective if you have a control marker on the same tile as the objective marker with the control side up, and both sides cannot control the same objective. And if you take the control action on your tile the opponent controls, flip their control marker back to its scouted side. So you can't take the control action if one of your opponent's combat counters is in that tile, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to clear out that dude. So there's also a set of buttons that allow you to get game information up here, including the full game instructions, and the X button closes the game. So we're going to, I want to illustrate a control action here. So I'm going to just take the Fog of War, which is what my AI opponent has taken, my tutorial opponent. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this, let's see here. So we haven't moved into the right spaces here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to move into this space. Okay. And this rifleman here needs to get into good cover because he was getting shot at like crazy. Oh, sorry, that's the scout. Sorry, that's a scout from Squad A. My apologies. So we're going to take over this square, which is also an opportunity to control things. And this scout is going to, I think, do what this scout does best, and that's to continue to scout. Now we do get a couple of Fog of War cards added. And now we have to face the music. We have some bolstering going on, and unfortunately the German player is taking a shot at my rifleman, but I managed to have enough cards in hand to weather the assault. So next initiative phase, we're going to go here. Okay, so it's the next action phase. We have a squad leader with bolster and inspire. Remember, bolster is adding more cards, and inspire is replaying a card. So now we've got squad B stuff going on. So let's see. I think I've got an idea. Let's move this rifleman, and this is just what I want to do to illustrate. It may not be the actual best move here. I'm just going to illustrate a control here. Okay, so I'm going to move that unit there, and then I'm going to inspire that unit to move again, and then I'm going to play to control. So you can see the control of that space is mine. I get the control marker, and this star goes green. So this star is still, because the enemy unit was in there, I could not take control of it, unfortunately. And I've got control. If you look, score of 1 out of 5, then this is where I'm at. I've got 1 point of control. The German side has 3 points of control. So anyway, it could be a risky move, but anyway, Scout B is going to let's see. Scout B is going to conceal, just so I can illustrate that. The opponent receives a Fog of War card in their deck, so it can potentially slow them down. And we're going to see some scouting and moving around, although potentially I'm in a very vulnerable spot because it looks like the Germans would be able to control this space and win the game very shortly. So this will be the last turn I'll play through, because I think you get a pretty good idea of the rules here. So we get to control first. So we're going to let's see, we're going to do an attack here, and we're going to strike this person, and we got a hit, which is good. The the card that was taken came out of the opponent's hand. So now we're going to control this space, and now we're 2 out of 5, which is good. But however, the German had the card they needed to control that space, so they win. So suboptimal play, but I hopefully gave you a good idea of how the game works, and hopefully you enjoyed it along the way. Thank you so much for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.